Howdy folks, my name is Richie Procopio, aka Bog Otter, and welcome to my second video edition of the Flameseeker Chronicles for Massively.com. Now today we're going to be talking about limited time or temporary content and also the cadence that ArenaNet has been putting out these game updates for Guild Wars 2. But before I do, I just want to let you know that the Dragon Bash is starting today, and if you want to check out what has been going on, check out the post I made on Massively yesterday. It is a video preview of the goings-ons in Tyria during the Dragon Bash festival. Now let's talk about today's topic. There's been forum posts and talk on places like Reddit and comments on Massively and stuff like that, just talking about Guild Wars 2 and the content they've been putting out. And even though they're putting out a lot of content, not everybody's been satisfied with it, saying, oh, this is a small little update here, this really didn't hold my interest long there. And, and there's fans of it for sure, but I'm just kind of talking to the, more of the negative feedback a little bit. And I think that it's important to kind of take a step back and realize that, yeah, maybe not everything just knocks your socks off, right? Not everything is like, and not everything is like a holiday event like the Halloween one where everybody, seemed to universally love it, or Super Adventure Box or something like that. But there's a lot of things that are happening, and the game has been changing so frequently. I just want to just recap a little bit, because it's not being talked about a lot, just like how frequently we're getting game updates, So let me just go back to, let's just go back to March. We'll just go back a little bit and just do a recap quickly of what they've put out since then. On March 26th, they put out Flame and Frost, The Raising, which was a patch that introduced us to Bram and Rox, the living story characters, and we had 2 instances you can go through to kind of help learn about their story, right? And in addition, they did small little things to the game, like removed culling from World versus World and added a progression system in World versus World and stuff like that. Just, little small things. And so that patch came out, and a few days later, April 1st, on April Fool's, they put out a surprise patch, right? It was Super Adventure Box got put into the game. And, people freaked out. This thing was awesome. It was unique. We haven't seen, something like this. And it was a mini game, but it was really robust, and it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of depth to it, right? It was actually a lot of content. If you wanted to, see all the secrets and unlock all the achievements and get the weapon skins, there was a lot of play there, and I think people really had a lot of fun with that. Now, I remember thinking specifically at that moment, we just had a patch on the 26th of March. It's now April 1st. We have this huge kind of new minigame. We're not going to see another patch in April. And I was wrong. At the end of April, they came out with the, Flame and Frost, like the final patch of that, story arc, which included the Molten Weapon Facilities dungeon, which is another piece of content that players seem to really like. That was probably one of the better, dungeon experiences in Guild Wars 2, in my opinion. And so that was put in. And, they also put in things like spectator mode and PvP and custom arenas on the same patch. And then things really started getting crazy. 2 weeks after that patch landed, we have the Secrets of the South Sun, right? New events in South Sun, new reasons to go there, new achievements, new living story. 2 weeks after that, when they're talking about the end of May now, we've got The Last Stand in South Sun, all right? Now we have the boss fight instance, Canuck's Lair, a 5-man version and a solo version. And then 1 week after that, without even a big patch or fanfare, we got the Queen Karka just appears in South Sun, a new world boss that's going to stay permanently, and events to support that. And it's crazy. And here we are a week after that, and today Dragon Bash launches. So, I mean, when you think about, when you really just take a step back and wow, we've been getting a ton of stuff. Now, not like I said earlier, not everything's going to knock your socks off. Not everything's going to be amazing to you. But I've been playing MMOs for a long time, and I know that there's other companies that are producing content rapidly in other games. But I really don't. I haven't seen. This is unprecedented in my experience, that how much content we're getting in such a quick amount of time. And if they're able to keep pace with this. Sure, not every update is going to be this huge thing, and not every update is going to have this huge sprawling dungeon for you to go through or different things like that. But if they sprinkle a dungeon or some sort of meaty sink your teeth into content, every couple months, and then every 2 weeks they're coming out with at least some little thing for you to do, I think that is pretty impressive. it's interesting that they take this approach, and I think one of the reasons is obviously they want a living, breathing world, right? They want this living story idea. They want to change the world, and it's not much of a living, breathing world if you don't really, come out with stuff, for like 3 months or something like that. That's a pretty static world, and that's unfortunately how a lot of MMOs kind of operate. But I also think it's part of ArenaNet's business strategy, right? They don't have a sub fee, obviously, and they don't have a gear progression system that kind of makes players want to log in every day because they're going to feel like that they're going to fall behind in their gear, right? Or there's going to be content that comes out that they're not going to be able to experience because they don't have a character that's geared enough, right? They don't have that kind of player draw, and some people think that's a bad thing, and I'm not getting into that argument right now, but they don't have it in the game, so they need a reason for people to constantly come back and log in and spend money in the gem store, right? So I think this is part of it. They want to have these new things, and this is getting into the limited time content, part of the topic, right? They want to have these frequent updates, and they want to make some things limited time only, right? Because it gets people to be like, all right, well, I don't want to miss this. I got to log in now and do it. And then they put things on the gem store that kind of celebrate that, and they make their money. So it's interesting that's how they're kind of going for this. And I have a funny story. Neverwinter launched. I don't know, like a month or so ago. Not launched. They actually went into open beta, right? And it's another MMO that I'm interested in. But their release tied directly with Molten Weapon Facility Dungeon releasing in Guild Wars 2, and that was only going to be available for 2 weeks. And like 3 of the 4 first nights of the Neverwinter open beta, I find myself playing Guild Wars 2 instead. So it definitely works on some people to actually like, hey, this content is going to be limited time only. I want to jump in and see this as much as possible while it's still there. Now, let's talk about limited time content, because this is another kind of controversial thing. There's pros and cons to it, right? Some people, hate it. Some people love it. If you have something that's limited time content, it kind of could make things special, right? If you get an achievement or a title or a weapon skin or a piece of cosmetic gear or something that's no longer available after a few weeks, then hey, you can kind of wear that as a badge of honor. That's a trophy for you. I was there when this was happening in the world, and making it available forever would kind of cheapen that experience. Then everybody would kind of have it. But at the other hand, or the other side of that coin, is that sometimes you miss things, right? Sometimes you wish you can go and do, like, I wish I can go run the Molten Weapon Facility whenever I could, because I enjoy that, or Super Adventure Box because I enjoyed that, but I can't. It's not in the game right now. So there's definitely an argument that is valid on both sides. And what's interesting to me is like, my first argument there about the limited time content, it really rings true for me, because when I was a kid, and yes, we're going back a long time. We're going back before VCRs, before DVR, before DVD players and on demand and all that, and the internet and stuff like that. My family used to get together to watch The Wizard of Oz, because there was one time a year they would broadcast it on TV, and we would make a big event out of it, right? We would all sit down, we'd have popcorn and snacks, and we'd all get excited. Oh my goodness, this is the one time a year that The Wizard of Oz will be on TV. So we got all excited. But the second we got a VCR and bought The Wizard of Oz tape, we never sat down and watched that movie again. Ever. And like, I have it upstairs now for my kids and DVD player. We don't watch it because it's kind of always there. So it's not special. So there is something to this. It kind of think about it in Guild Wars 2 terms. I love the clock tower jumping puzzle from Halloween. And if it was still in the game, just always available, there's probably a few times over the last 6 months that I would have logged in and run it a couple times, right? But in general, it wouldn't be special. But since it's not been in the game, not available, I actually think about October, and I gotta get excited that in Guild Wars 2, we're gonna have that jumping puzzle back. And so it remains special. So as much as there are arguments against having temporary content, there are certain aspects of it that make it and keep it special. Now, the good news is, for anybody who can't stand that, ArenaNet is listening. Colin Johansson went on the forums recently, and he basically said something like like this. He said, "We've been playing around so far this year with a lot of different concepts to see what works for a living world game and see what players liked and didn't like. Based on your feedback, you'll be seeing a greater degree of permanent content built into future living world releases in 2013. And of course, some things you've seen before may return again in its current form, but updated, like the Super Adventure Box or Holiday Festivals, or in an entirely new form." So that's kind of exciting that they're listening to the feedback, and they're going to try to incorporate more things that stay in the world permanently based on that. And so I think they can do a mixture of both. And I think that they have been doing a mixture of both, but it's been much more temporary stuff than things that aren't. Like think about all the game updates I mentioned, and even a little bit before that, like starting in January with Flame and Frost. There's been features that have been added to the game, but not a lot of permanent content. Really, obviously, guild missions is a big one. But other than that, not too much has stuck around. We're getting the mower racing that's going in today will be a permanent feature. But it's curious, like things like the crab toss, right? It's a mini game in South Sun. Why not just leave that in there for players to do when they want to? You can make that argument that I just made about keeping things special or whatnot, but I don't see them. When would they bring that back? It's not the Secrets of the South Sun thing is not like a holiday thing that they're going to bring back every year. So I don't know. So some things are questionable, and I'm glad to see that they're going to put, maybe it'd be more like 50-50 content, 50 if it stays, 50 if it doesn't. In any case, let me know what you think. What do you think about the release schedule that Guild Wars 2 has been doing? Do you think that you like this rapid flow? Do you like these little bite-sized content updates as long as they sprinkle in some bigger stuff along with it? And also, how do you feel about temporary content, stuff that leaves the game after you experience it? Do you find that special? Do you think it should be more of a mix like they're going to be doing? Let us know in the comment section below. And that's going to wrap things up for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the Flameseeker Chronicles, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.